Come on, everybody, let's start the show. A quick ahoy hoy and away we'll go. Richard's got a minifig and Flynn's got a pin. The gang's all here and it's time to begin. Tricky Brick's roll call. Moto, Holly, Kara, and sometimes Blair, Clicky, Logan, Ms. Thing and Angela, and Thunderman Ho! Now you're here to grab your bricks and let's go to the Tricky Bricks Build and Check Show!
Ahoy, hoy,
ahoy,
everyone.
Ahoy, friends! How's it going? Good to see you on a Sunday. We are here with our Sunday group chat show, which I'm very excited about. We're going to be covering some Lego Masters episode 9. It's
Season 2.
Season 2. Oh, yeah, that's right. Season 2, episode 9, not season 1, episode 9. But we do, as usual, have lots of guests here for you today.
We do. We have a fun panel, our cast of irregulars.
I know, and look who's here.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. I'm not working today.
I know we missed you on Friday. If you didn't get a chance to see Friday's show, please do go back and watch it. Maybe give it a like. I was with Claire, the plastic architect, who is a wonderful person, really fun, and local to us. And we were building the astronomy tower. And it was.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's already shaping up to be a really cool model. And we talked a little bit about the architecture of it. And
so
it was fun.
You were building on the building.
We were building on the building.
Actual
chat.
Building.
Can you believe it? But why don't we go ahead and have our guests on, shall we?
All right. Yes. Everyone's in the green room. It's a big party over there.
Everybody's waiting to go. So first up, here she is from just across the other side of the bay. It is Minifig Chick. Hi,
Hey
Kara.
guys.
Hi, Kara.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Good. We're having a great day. We were up early like usual.
Yes, early. That's how we do. Let's see who else. And here she is from beautiful Beaverton, Oregon. It's Holly. Hi, Holly.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
With one of my favorite of your t-shirts.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Happy Sunday.
Also, we have.
It must be sometimes.
It is. What?
A-E-I-O-U.
Oh, yes. A-E-I-O-U. And sometimes Blair.
Ahoy, hoy, everybody.
Also from Oregon. How you doing, Blair?
Should we change it to more often than not?
Yeah, I think we gotta I don't know how that'll fit with the lyrics of the song.
Well, I think while Pluto dropped off the solar system a little bit, Y is now definitely a perfect or a permanent vowel, right? It's not sometimes Y.
Yes.
So it's not sometimes Blair. That was a long way around saying nice to see you, Blair.
Okay, friends. So moving right along.
See how the show's going to be today? I'm back.
We have, of course, internet sensation Bricks O'Brien. Hello, Brian.
Hello. Happy Sunday,
Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Happy Sunday. And from season 2 of Lego Masters, new addition to the Sunday crew, it is Randall. Hi, Randall.
Hey, Randall.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
yeah, y'all too. It's glad to be back. I've been out of commission for a while, but happy to join y'all again.
Oh, so glad you are here. Well, we may have to change the "and sometimes Blair" to "and sometimes Randall." We may have to
There we go.
some adjustments.
Leave it.
That works.
Golly, well, as you may notice, there is somebody missing today who's usually always here, and that is Moto.
Omnipresent.
Yes, Moto, who is at Brick Slopes.
That's right.
Well, he's not just at Brick Slopes.
Oh, yeah. So we'll talk
He's
about
got
Brick
his
Slopes in a
hands
minute.
full.
Yeah, he does have his hands
Busy.
full, that's for sure, of all of those sets. So Brick Slopes is happening right. No, actually, I can't say it's happening right now because it's not actually happening today.
Is it not? It doesn't. They don't do anything on Sunday
There's not
No,
Sundays.
because
because it's Utah.
Utah, and
Mhm.
apparently Sundays no one shows up because
It's Utah.
church.
Yeah.
So yeah. So no brick slopes on Sundays, but
so that means that
we got our
everyone
thing.
gets
We're
approved.
on Brick Church right now.
that's
Right
right.
Right.
You're here. You're here for Brick Church.
And it means that all the builders at Brick Slopes get to replace all the minifigures and stuff that got sort of chaotically messed up on the first exciting public days.
Yeah, I hope nobody touched anyone's model and messed it up.
There's always adventure with mocks.
There
Isn't
is.
there always like minor drama?
So I got many excited texts last night from Brick Slopes. I got to tell you, there were. We have some winners in the family. I think Moto.
right.
Wait, I got to get Moto's text up. So Moto took home 3 awards.
This is like Blair was
That's
saying,
right.
his hands were full.
And our very own Aubrey Kovach took home an award.
Yay.
So that's exciting. Let's see, what do we got here? Moto won Best Space Vehicle for his big
That's
rocket.
right. Yep.
That's a given.
He also took home overall Best of Castle and Adventure,
Oh.
which is amazing.
That's pretty cool.
And then he also got Best Sculpture, I believe, for
wolf?
Sir Meowsalot.
Oh, that's
Meowsalot,
right.
yep.
Oh, man.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. The question is, did he win any dance awards?
And he's, I'm
Is
sure.
dancing allowed?
Well, it is when Moto's around. He's like the king of the
Very
goofy
good.
dad dance.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty amazing.
I saw a great photo of Boone Langston doing a field repair on Sir Meowsalot,
Right.
which was
Yeah.
on Moto's head
Yes.
at the time.
And actually, Boone took home a trophy for his Pee Wee Herman and scooter build, which was great.
And Mark Kirkshank.
And Mark, who actually sent me some photos. So Mark did completely on brand for Mark an apocalyptic build.
I would not have guessed that.
I know. I'm surprised and shocked, just as we all are.
Heart Lake.
Heartache City.
Right.
Oh my
The L
Which
fell
is
off.
amazing.
Yes.
So, yeah, let me get. I do actually have a photo, so let me get that up real quick. There we
Good
go.
job.
There is Heartache City.
Oh my goodness.
So he did an apocalyptic friends build and won a best of friends, which I think is such a great name.
It's
Pretty
so
good.
colorful.
It's such a great
Friends.
name for a thing. And he did send me a few little sort of detail builds of what he did.
That's not Farron, is it?
No. And again, like completely on brand for Mark. And I was there at the Bricks and Minifigs when he was trying to get the Friends figures to fill this out. And he was looking for armor and pieces. It was really
I love the
Really
combination of chains and flowers. I think go
Yes.
really nicely together.
I mean, like now this one looks just like a regular Friends build, but of course when you pull back. So apparently he also won a castle award for his Sesame Street castle mashup.
Oh wow,
Oh, that's fantastic.
that is so funny.
Which is awesome. And we got, and I said, and Aubrey, now I don't have a picture of Aubrey's build, unfortunately, because she, I haven't seen one yet, but I know she won basically like best newcomer.
Oh, yay.
It's like best new builder thing. So that is
like a rookie award or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was amazing. I think it was actually called Nice First Try, which doesn't quite sound as nice.
That's a little shady. That's
So I'm going to prefer to call it Best New Builder. So Diana asks, how do you transport these things very carefully?
You feel for anyone who drives, you feel every bump.
Oh yeah, when we
Well, I
took
saw
Snake
that-
Queen to Los Angeles, it was an anxiety-induced 6-hour drive. I'll
Well,
just say that.
Whenever we hit a bump, it sounded like a rain stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you get to
did
the
you
other
see
side,
the,
there's like a pile of bricks that you don't know where they came from, but everything still seems to be standing. So
Yep.
Yeah, as long as the structure's there, right? Boone built a box for his castle to transport.
And so did
to.
Moto.
yeah,
Moto built
Moto
a
built a box
crate
too.
too.
You have to.
We used when we flew. We have a flight case.
Yeah, we have a little like a
With
Like
foam
an
in
ATA
it?
style.
Yeah, like you would-
a road case.
we got it from Richard's work, like where you
It was for a computer monitor.
but it's huge, so we were able to pack some stuff in there. We did that with on Lego Masters, and we did it for our sign for
Ewok Adventureland.
Adventureland as well. Had to fly that, but it's
and I used to-
terrifying.
And then, of course, you see it come out. You're like, oh, this is great. It will have made it in the flight. It's hard. It's got foam in it. And then it comes down the conveyor belt. Kukong.
Yeah, and then it goes up against the thing, and oh my goodness.
And if you're like me, you have almost equal parts Lego mock collection and bubble wrap collection as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
I need to get like you. I don't have much. I usually toss it when I get it in packages, but I'm probably going to start keeping that.
You got to save it. I will tell you some things that will help you. A couple of little tips to help you with your mock transportation. And this first one's a big one. Saran wrap. If you go, and especially if you're doing buildings or things that are like that don't have a lot of little plinky things sticking off of them, go to the restaurant supply, buy one of those like
Super
massive
big.
things of saran wrap, and if you wrap it tightly enough, it helps hold everything. Not only does it help hold everything together, but if anything does fall off, it's in the plastic,
thing.
like it's in the little protective bubble, and then you can do. Bubble wrap outside of that, but that first layer of saran wrap is a huge, huge help.
Well, Lego
Some people do the
sent
same
you-
with towels too, like wrapping like
all of the
ships and
towels end
towels.
Yeah.
Lego sent you one of your mocks back.
Wrapped in take this thing back.
No, it was in a cage of gray 2x12.
Yeah, so when I did a piece for 2 pieces for Lego's Comic-Con booth a couple of years ago, and they when they sent it back to me, it had like a wall cage of like 2x8 gray bricks all the way around it.
Nice.
We now have more 2x8 gray bricks than anyone needs. Like if we built castles, we'd be doing really well on gray bricks right now.
Lego actually sent mine back from the Lego house with all the elements wrapped in saran wrap. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then
Very
this is a picture of a box that Moto custom made for one of his starships too. So making
Wow.
custom
Yeah.
cardboard cutouts.
That's what you do.
Is that Instagram?
Sure.
Okay.
No, he sent it to me.
Okay. No, because I was gonna bring up his Instagram if we wanted to take a look, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he has those on
It
there.
kind of depends what scale you're on, right? Like if you're building really, really big, then I mean, I think it's always best to kind of compartmentalize your mocks as much as you can. So
Like
that
take
if
them
you're-
apart.
If you're building really big, like you have sections that come apart, pretty easily, whether you're pinning it with some Technic pins or putting it with using like jumper plates or something so that things kind of easily lift off. So I build compartmentally.
Modularity is the key, right?
Yeah, so I build compartmentally, and that way it makes it easier so I can take the parts with like the fiddly bits off, and then I have chunks that I can just kind of wrap easily. And then I have a camera bag for my Coraline house, which is kind of mid-scale, fits perfectly in a camera bag, and I have all those little foam dividers that I can adjust around all the parts.
Well, speak of the devil, Moto has arrived in the chat.
Wow.
Say hello.
What's up, Moto?
On the road,
Good
yeah.
to see you, Moto.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations
Congrats.
on your big wins and all your amazing sets. I'm betting that Bricks O'Brien wished that he had some saran wrap when coming back from the last convention he went to.
I was just going to share a story about driving on I-95, and I had
Please.
Mario strapped in like a child, standing up and, seat belted accordingly. There was a point where I stopped a little bit too short in traffic, and that's Mario's head.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh.
after the show, today's project, I think, will be to rebuild the Mario, but it will be bad. It will be very bad. So
Right now, it's the
that's a solid
Nintendo
building,
64
too.
opening version.
Yeah.
Like a Pez dispenser. Put a
Yes.
hinge in the head.
You should put a little hidden treasure inside of there that no one else knows about.
I should. It's gonna. I don't want to think about how long it's gonna take me. But that's my Sunday project today. So,
Good one.
I'm
luck.
so glad you're putting it back together.
yep.
Wow.
And Hooded One wants to know if you got Moto, if you got the Awesome Dance Moves Award.
Moto dances for the fun. He doesn't dance for recognition.
That's right. Thank you, Abby the Brick Squirrel. Yes, please, if you're here and you're enjoying yourself, do give a little thumbs up to the stream. It's down there just below the video. It super helps. I know a lot of people have been asking lately, well, like, does it really do anything? Actually, it does really do something. Just by liking the video and having those likes on there, it really gets the YouTube algorithm going. It really, for some reason, really likes those likes. So there you go. Well, let's see. Oh, and is Aubrey here as well? I'm not sure.
I saw someone texting to Aubrey.
Yeah, I saw somebody texting.
Texting, yes,
Yeah.
texting on the World Wide Web.
Oh my gosh. On the information superhighway. All right, friends. So before we get into the episode, I want to just real quick.
Oh, we have. I'm
am-
sorry. This just in. I'm sorry, Flynn. Very sorry, but this just in from the UK. We have an international message. Clinging Film. It's not Saran Wrap. It's Clinging Film, Flynn.
Yeah, Saran Wrap's the brand name.
The generic brand name.
I mean, but I know what you're
Wrap.
talking about, though. Like
Plastic
you talking about,
exactly.
you say Kleenex for tissue, same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a yeah.
That's a brand
So-
name. It's like Pepsi. It's a brand name.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are many things that have taken over, right? Like Scotch tape. Like you
Mhm.
just sort of say these brand names that have become the thing that they are. But real quick, before we get started talking about the episode, I did want to say I am now at this moment. Here we go. Hang on one second. Trying to get there. I've got my Musée Wax Wax Museum, Musée Conti Wax Museum from New Orleans. Today is the 16th anniversary of Katrina, which I thankfully escaped with not all of my belongings, but with me still intact.
And if anyone doesn't know, it's Hurricane Katrina, right?
Yes, Hurricane Katrina, not just some crazy lady named Katrina in my neighborhood that chased me out with a rolling pin, but also that Louisiana is now on the anniversary of Katrina facing a very, very strong hurricane. And so I just want to say to all of my friends in New Orleans, like, please be careful. I hope that you've gotten out. I hope that you can get out. And that I love you and we're thinking of you. So everybody, please, like, whatever you pray, meditate, whatever it is that you do, please do that for New Orleans because they really need it right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all heavy there, but I did want to, that was a very significant
It's
part
real.
of my life and it's a real thing. So, but while we are, oh yes, before I almost forgot,
What's that?
before we move on, it's pin time.
Yay.
So Akara, why don't you start us off with pins?
You got it. I have Mr. Potato Head in his Tower of Terror costume.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Have you seen the behind the attraction thing on Disney Plus?
No, not yet.
Oh, we've been watching them. It's actually been a really fun show. We've really been enjoying that.
Yeah, it's
we
really
just
cool.
watched one on Tower of
And I
Terror.
just noticed he's got his Mr. PH tiny, tiny, tiny letters on his name tag.
Are you
Oh, wow.
serious? Like on a little name tag?
It's part of the pin. It's flat, but I mean it's part of the pin.
Right on.
that's awesome.
All right, Holly.
All right. Well, I'm going to continue with my Scott Lava pins. I just got a few of those a couple of weeks ago. So here's another Scott Lava.
Oh,
that's awesome.
That's great.
Nice.
Instagram, Facebook, Scott Lava.
And it's got a little smiley face.
Yeah, that's his style. It's all very cute. But he does a lot of like horror, sci-fi, pop culture, monsters. He just does everything in kind of a cutesy style. I like it.
That's awesome. Nice. All right. Wait, who's next in line? It's Randall. Randall, what have you got for us today?
Yes. So I love watching anime. That's one of my other passions, and particularly Studio Ghibli films from Japan.
Mm.
Yeah. So when I was in Japan, 2018, I went to the Ghibli Museum out there. Yeah, it's really hard to get into. Like, it's VIP if you're able to get tickets. So we were able to get tickets, and they had a pin of the cat bus.
Oh, nice.
That's so great.
I got a pin for the cat bus, among others that I plan to share in future episodes.
Oh,
Awesome. That's so cool. Very nice. I like that. That's going to be a good collection to see. Oh, and I got to say, kind of going back to cars real quick, Abby the Brick Squirrel says, he's a bell hot potato. Wow. That's something.
Nice.
That's a mock in the making.
That is 100% something. That's a yeah. So anyway, Brian, do you have anything delightfully pinned for us today? Is it Mario by chance?
Yeah, of course. I have to stay on brand. Mario 64 logo pin.
Oh, wow.
I really like
Blair,
that.
you were spot on today.
Right?
Wow.
Oh, cool.
You're like on well, again, like Mark, on brand for
Absolutely.
you. And what, did you see the new keychains that they're giving away?
Oh, they're already ordered and on the way. Yeah.
Of course. And apparently I saw on this morning that they're actually like the same size almost as the actual toy. Like they're not little. They're pretty substantial.
Yeah. They're on each of the different Nintendo and Lego shops. I got them, but me and April were coursing at like 2 a.m. when they launched. We're like, all right, gotta get
Oh
them.
my goodness.
Are they like a hollowed out version of the little computer interactive toy?
No, it's like a flat metallic keychain, not like shiny, but just like the image of it. But if it has Lego Mario on it, I'm kind of a sucker. I gotta get it.
I was gonna ask, Brian. I'm getting the sense that you're like Nintendo is a thing for you, or Mario. Am I late to this party? Did I not even invite?
Only a little bit.
You've been found out, Brian.
I know. If you've ever, it's said that if you just say the words Princess Peach's castle 3 times, Brian will appear to say something about it.
Wow. Okay. Learning something new every day. Nice to know. I'm being serious, by the way. Like, I did not know.
Oh yeah, and he's hardcore. I mean, let's look at that. Look at that background.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. Still, I didn't want to make any.
No,
I
he's
didn't want to
committed.
make any assumptions.
Yeah, don't doubt his commitment.
Okay, Blair, have you got a little pin for us today?
Sure. I'm not positive if I have shared this way back when, but I found this Dave Correa demon pin in my sock drawer, and I wasn't sure if I had shown it here before. But
wow, it's cool. It kind of looks like Stitch.
That's what I'm thinking.
Bad.
It's like evil.
What I thought it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you feed Stitch after midnight, that's what
Yes.
And just real quick, everybody, for some reason, my participants list is not populating, and we're going to do the shout out to everybody out in the chat here after we show our pins. So maybe give a hello in the chat so our little list gets populated and we can see who all is out there today in the Magic Mirror land. All right, so we've got, what have we got today?
Well, I'm featuring.
Wait, I got to get clicky.
Where is he
on the job?
He's
Okay,
coming
here we
up
go.
the
Yes,
stairs.
here we go.
I'm featuring Mike. Right
Mike
there.
Wazowski.
Monsters Inc.
And I am got this awesome B ticket.
Oh, nice.
If you remember when they used to have tickets, if you're old enough to remember that. But this was like, the B rides weren't maybe the best. Mike Fink Keelboats and the Swiss Family Treehouse, which was fun, but maybe, it's not quite an E ticket.
Swiss
I'll say
Family
that.
Treehouse isn't really a ride, though.
Actually, because my mom saved them, and also your mom, right?
Yep.
We have the
Wow.
Disney tickets.
Oh my
there. Look
God.
at that. Wow. There's an E-ticket right there.
I know. Can you believe there's actually an E-ticket left?
Yep.
I want
How
to.
dare you?
So look at this. The E-ticket. Here's what was on the E-ticket, and I would have never Okay, so there's your e-ticket. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, I have a fistful of B tickets here.
Yeah, nobody wants the B tickets.
There we go. Wow, Bear Country.
Yeah, the monorail to the hotel and back. That was a ticket.
Well, it's future transport.
Yeah.
But compared to Space Mountain, you got
Or
the
Haunted
Submarine
Mansion.
Voyage, Small World, Matterhorn, Bobsleds, Country Bear Jamboree, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Enchanted Tiki Room, and Jungle Cruise.
That's a good lineup.
Like all
Yeah.
the rides.
For that adventure.
But you only got a couple of each. Like I'm looking in here, and I think you only got like 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 4 e-tickets. I can tell you that my whoa, I'm blurry. I can tell you that that my choices would have been for sure Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise, and Matterhorn. If I had to pick 4 off of here.
Oh, I think instead of Jungle Cruise, I'd be all about the Country Bear Jamboree.
That's a choice.
Instead of the Matterhorn, I definitely do Space Mountain.
All right, so real quick, let's say hi to everybody who's in who's in the chat.
Populated.
So Abby, the Brick Squirrel is here. Apples is here from Europe. Hello, Brickaroo Bonsai. Carolyn, C, a new name. Hello, Carolyn. Welcome. Chris and Jaden Chalice. Wow, that's maybe the shortest name on record.
Right to the point.
Just right to the point there. Cowboy Cornado, ahoy howdy. Darren Siegfried, Debo Bricks, Diana Snodgrass, Fabufan MKE, Heather Mraz, Hooded One, Jake Sadovich. How's it going, Jake? Johnny Cat. Hello, Johnny. And kicking off the Encapades, we've got Matthew Builds Bricks, Monica Berry. A short Emscapades today, and Moto was in earlier.
It's like a partial haiku.
Yes. PT McEwen, Patrick Wismer, Rob Zaccardi and the Zaccardis. Hello. How's it going, Rob? Lana, Vanessa, and Elena. Good to see you on a Sunday. Robin Eklund is here. Slug Biker, Steve Parmley, the Hornburgers. Ahoy, hoy, Hornburgers. Peter, Julia, and Andrew. Good to see you. And bonsoir, Wilfred. And of course, hello to Zarakino Kim, wherever you may be, hopefully getting out of the way of that hurricane. My goodness.
Yep.
So here we go.
Isn't there's a TV show? We were going to talk about a TV show, weren't we?
Some show that people
What
watch.
show is this?
Something to do with Lego something.
What?
Never heard of it.
They're
Never
like,
heard of it.
Ninjago.
Ninjago. That's right, Ninjago. So actually, I think we were going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers Super Show from 1980, whatever that was.
Let's not do that. Nope.
Yeah.
We're all
So I actually have those DVDs, Brian. You selling it short. Those
I
shows
do
were
too.
fire.
Okay, Randall, not only do I have the DVDs, I have the DVDs autographed by Captain Lou Albano, who was the voice of Mario in those cartoons.
Wow.
I went to Dragon Con when I was living in Atlanta, and he was there, and I got him to sign it for me.
That's legit.
And yeah, it was. It's pretty cool. I gotta say, that's one of my like little keepsakes that I need to pull that out for a thing from the crypt at some point, because that was that's
Love
a pretty
to see
good
it.
one.
What year do you think that was?
What did you say?
What year do you think that was for Dragon
That I got
Ball?
his autograph?
Yeah.
Well, I was in Atlanta because Katrina, so that would have probably made it either 2006 or 7. One of the two. I don't remember.
I might have been there. So
Well, we
wild.
worked at the same company.
I was
Yeah.
there for sure.
Bananas.
Probably there in the same building, same
I
time.
still can't get over that.
Yeah.
So weird. Yeah. So Holly and I both worked for Turner Broadcasting at the same time,
Yeah. It's not
which
wild.
is nuts. And of course, it's a very big company, so we never did see each other. But
Yeah.
how weird, we were living in the same town, working in the same place, like 15 years ago, and now
Yeah.
here we are.
That's wild.
And I missed out on that autograph too. All the regrets.
Oh man,
Holly was 2.
I got so many autographs. I got and of course, like all super old school stuff, right? Like I got the woman who played Holly in Land of the Lost. I got her autograph
That's
on
funny.
a great picture of her like being terrorized by a slee stack.
So many
pretty
missed
awesome.
opportunities, y'all.
Yeah, there was I got some pretty cool things. And I just, who I just saw is going to be going to Dragon Con, and is Amy of Crystal and Amy, and she has got like 5 or 7 cosplay outfits that she's working on.
Oh my goodness!
Including a character from Genshin Impact, which I'm super excited about.
Which one? Which character?
Beto, I think.
Beto. I don't know. One of those. And then she made an alligator Loki, like it's like an alligator faux alligator skin dress, and she like 3D printed the crown, and it says variant on the back. It's really great.
I might have to go, y'all. I might have to go.
Yeah, it was. I know. I want to see. You know, she'll be posting pictures of all of her stuff. So if you're not following her on Instagram, you absolutely should be. It's Amy DD on Instagram, and I can see Kara is already getting a link to put in the chat. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's the thing. So Hooded One says, I got past the autograph collecting. I still have a nice collection of Star Wars autographs, though. Anybody else here have like ever gotten like a celebrity autograph, and if so, who?
Oh, I'm working on some. Hopefully, when I see you, you'll add to it.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh yes, with all the autographs. I know Moto had one of those when we saw him in Portland.
Here, I'll show you mine. It's Lego related.
Ah, very good. Anybody else while we're waiting? Brian?
I've hung out with some celebrities at Comic-Con and stuff like that. And then the only autographs I have I have an autographed copy of the dinosaur set from when I displayed at the Lego house.
Oh, nice.
I'm not one for signatures. I'm more about the experience.
Yeah,
I don't really get the autographs.
I have I have a couple of. I've shown you guys my little passport book, right? I know Flynn, you guys have signed it. It's more like it's not so much like celebrity autograph, but it was a thing that 2018 when I was traveling with my Coraline house, as I was meeting a lot of people in the Lego community, like people who were doing autographs rather than having them autograph like a set or something. I had them sign my passport book. And so it's more like a yearbook for that year of just lots of people's kind of random signatures. Like they're not all like celebrities. They were just people that I met that I was like, that were significant in some way that had them. So it's full of autographs. It's really cool. But
That's
my favorite
so cool.
one.
I don't usually weird one.
I don't usually ask for autographs either. So I'm usually not like, I don't really get like starstruck, but this one got me. I met Neil Gaiman when I had the Coraline house out, and he was there with it. Like he promoted it on his social media, and he was like, it was a weird thing because he was kind of fanboying about it to me. And I was having like a shell-shocked moment because I've been a huge fan of Neil Gaiman since I was like a kid. So, yeah, that was one for me. So I did have to get an autograph from him.
Oh, very nice.
That's so dope.
For that one. Yeah. And so this was the base I made for the little Coraline brickhead that I designed. Yeah.
I have to say, like, I've never collected. The only time I've ever gotten like autographs from anyone was at that Dragon Con. Mm-hmm. And it was because they were having the Star Wars Stormtrooper parade out on the street. And I mean, and it's like hundreds of people. It's crazy. Yeah. All in like full regalia. Although my favorite ones were, there was a group of like 6 guys that had made their outfits out of cardboard boxes. And so they almost looked like kind of like Minecraft versions of them. It was really pretty hilarious. But so I went onto the floor, to the autograph floor, while the parade was going on, and it was empty. And so I just kind of started walking around and talking to people. And then they were like, well, do you want an autograph? And I felt like I wasn't going to say no. So I was like, yeah, please. And you know, that's how a lot of these, especially the older folks, make money now, right? Yeah. Like that's how they make money. Yeah, sure, I will buy your photo and get you to. How am I going to turn down Adrienne Barbeau in Creepshow autographed photo? Like and probably 4 of you don't know what that is, but
And she was surprised that's the one you wanted. Right?
She was really surprised that's the one I wanted. She thought it was going to be one of the ones of her looking, very pretty. I mean, she still looked really pretty, but she's like, and horrifying, like red and blue, amazing, being terrorized by a monster. Wow, there's a theme. I got lots of autographs of people being terrorized by monsters. Go figure. Not a surprise. But that's the same trip. I also met George Takei, who was very nice and really cool. And
Rip Taylor.
And if you don't know who Rip Taylor is, Google it, because that guy was a wackadoo and completely amazing. But anyway.
I realized also Moto just sent me a very close to home autograph.
Yes.
Great
cards. We just got those in the mail. Yes.
Very awesome.
Very cool.
Add it to my card collection.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was an unexpected rabbit hole, but happy to go down it with you all. So Lego Masters and stuff. So before we get started on this, I am once again going to tweak Fox's nose.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Because this week, not only did they provide some terrible photos, they provided this many photos of the final builds. That many. Nothing. So thankfully,
Flynn and I are actually going to draw each build
and explain
and hold it up
while it's happening. No, actually, what is going to happen is, thankfully, Yano, who is doing a recap show, also sent me all of her photographs that she had captured from the show, and I have them here. So we do have pictures. No thanks to Fox. Shame. I'm the waggling finger of shame at you. But
hooray for being the of Lego Masters. That's helping out with that, right?
Sure. All right. So let's talk about this week's episode. It was called Land and Sea. I thought they should have called it Surf and Turf, but that's my own thing.
I think they should have called it, oh my gosh, the most terrifying episode ever. I am so glad we did not have this challenge.
I don't think I could have handled it. So this was, agree. I got to say, one of the odder challenges that I've seen on the show thus far.
Nobody built an otter.
It's an otter challenge.
Odder than most.
Although, interestingly enough, though, so many people built animals that were semi-aquatic. Mm-hmm. And that was the interesting thing. I was like, you're challenged with land and sea, and there were so many animals that could go on both. And I thought that was really interesting. Just path that people went down. I'm not sure if it was like the mind couldn't quite make it up, like what to choose, or if they had an inkling of like what might happen. I'm not sure, but it was.
You also got to build something that you have a very good sense of if you can make it or not.
Right.
That was the first thing that I was thinking of. Having tried to make a horse on our ill-fated 7th episode build. That they made these creatures from memory in 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
wild.
Yeah. So the task was, they came onto the episode, and there was a wall down the middle of the room. They split the teams up, and then each one member of the team had to build a sea creature. The other member of the team had to build a land creature. Then that was a 5-hour challenge, which is not very long.
Easy.
And in that first half, I gotta say, I felt so hard for Natalie. She was an hour into her build when she discovered that Mark was also doing a jellyfish, and she's like, "I gotta do
no apple to apple comparison."
Yeah, no apple to apple, which I get.
Yeah.
Which I get. You don't want, and they don't. I won't say that they actively discourage that, but they don't really. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't seem like we had that
for the Mega City build. We ended up, there were 3 or 4 of us wanted to make initially. The first thing we hit on was sustainable city.
Yeah,
green power sustainable city, and that wasn't gonna fly.
Yeah. So and there was a couple of other times stuff like that happened. I know we did both us and Amy and Crystal did a volcano build for the second challenge. I mean, it's hard not to, right? Like not to accidentally do something that somebody else is doing, right? Like,
Yep.
That's difficult.
It was a totally justifiable U-turn. I mean, that was a good call, I think.
And also,
I
too,
was like, yep, I would do the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, I believe too when you see it, and I don't know if it was just editing or whatever, but he was already pretty far along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what she said too. She's like, he's already like further than I am. Like, let's just do something else.
Right. But when you're on a 5-hour challenge and you just lost an hour
and you don't have your partner to commiserate
pick
with
up the slack,
figure out what to do.
So Randall, I'm curious, do you like if you had been with this challenge, do you think you would have found that you and Cyrita would have found it difficult to be split up like that, or would you have found it advantageous?
Not gonna be able to do it. That would have been ugly. So the whole time I was watching, I said, "Oh wow!" Even not knowing what happens after that, that would have been stressful.
So Brian, what did you think of this overall over a challenge? Like if you take all of the challenges of season 1 and season 2 so far, where would you put this this particular challenge? I personally found it very strange.
I found it strange too, and I was talking with Nick about the challenge and kind of pondering it because there's the wall that's dividing the two of the teams, right? And how I wonder, because we've encountered this a couple of times before with other challenges where there have been other rules that we didn't know about from the episode that we had to find out afterwards. So when I was watching the episode, I'm like, okay, well, Will Arnett's talking very loud, like, so you're building a jellyfish, huh? Like, how does someone on the other side of the wall not like, you know what I mean? So what did they just have to like, to an extent pretend, or like how much other direction did the production team influence this? Because it seems like there's a missing link somewhere.
Well, they didn't know about the twist, right? Yeah. So even if they knew what the other one built, they wouldn't know about the mashup yet.
I mean, well, I can tell you from our experience though, if we were given a 5-hour challenge, I would pretty much figure that there was something else coming, like in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I think, Blair, maybe speaks to what you were talking about earlier, this kind of like...
I think they guessed it.
Yeah, like kind of maybe guessed that something was going to happen where they were going to have to come together again, and that might have influenced some of their choices. So, yeah, but I did find it a very, very odd choice.
I do feel like a lot of, and because I was asking when we were watching it, I was kind of wondering the same thing. I was like, I feel like there are a lot of rules like not exposed to us. Like I felt like there was a lot more just based on kind of, I don't remember what exactly it was they were doing, whether it was scale or something, but it was like, it would be good to know exactly what the parameters are when you're watching them build something.
Right.
They never tell us.
Well, scale ends up being very important.
Oh yeah,
so?
Especially on
multiple things. Oh, I'm getting signals, everybody, that it's time. It is time for the pause that refreshes. Everybody, get your cookies, get your snacks, get your pets or your Lego models that you feed or your disembodied Mario heads.
Oh,
and
at the door.
It's Logan Cookie. It's Logan. Hi, Logan. The real reason everybody comes to see the show every week because they get to see Logan being very cute.
Say hi to everyone. Why? You did that all on your own.
That was so good, Logan. What a good boy. Let's see who else we've got here for Logan Cookie Time today. We've got, it looks like it's Kirby Cookie Time.
It's a very squishy Kirby that smells like strawberries.
Kirby squishy time. Smells like bubble gum.
Wow.
And we've got a dinosaur. Looks like a whole chicken.
Oh my goodness.
Eating your grandkids.
That's awesome.
It's not me, it's Lego, but still.
Yes,
it's an awesome build.
I just put together the Fox model, and it's so good. Very similar.
We
Cool.
have that.
Hi, everybody.
And everybody's favorite Muppet dog, Skittles. Hi, Skittles.
I see you. I see your
Hi.
eyes.
Skittles now with eyes.
Skittles 2.0.
Do you have Splishy and Splashy in that cup?
Yeah.
Since Moto's not here. All right, everybody.
I don't have
That
my
has
flashy down
been.
here.
Oh, Blobby Blob. I'm not sure what that is.
Kind of Mike-ish.
It's an alien from my new favorite latest set.
From the Mickey and Minnie Rocket.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty cool piece.
It's
And
an awesome
everybody,
piece.
that has been Logan Cookie Time.
You know, I did just want to brag on Logan just for a minute. We hit a milestone today. After 6 months working on the cookie on the nose trick, for the first time, it was on his nose and he popped it up way over the back of his head, but we're making progress. We're making progress.
He's like, he takes after me. There's actually the most embarrassing childhood photo that I have of me is me going to like throw a baseball and my hand is back here and the baseball is about 2 feet behind me. So yeah, it runs in the family. Just saying. Oh, your dad's here. Hey, Dad. Hey, Bob. How's it going? All right, so back to the shoe.
That show.
So inevitably we got a twist. Okay, and the twist was that the teams had to then come together and combine their models into a hybrid of sorts.
Land sea creature.
A land sea creature. Now, I will say, having experienced multiple twists on our season, they can be, while sometimes they can feel like you got an extra chance to fix stuff, I found more often than not, because we had a lot of them, that I felt a little traumatized by it. Like I had just put so much effort into the first thing. And then to be asked to then turn it into something else that didn't meet my original vision was extremely difficult.
Well, in this case, it literally saved the tale of Zach and Wayne. I mean, that was the first time we'd seen one of those issues arise in this season. So, I mean, as soon as we knew what was coming, right? But they didn't sort of at that time. You were like, well, it could be what saves them as long as there's no judgment.
I kind of felt like based on the reaction, though, they had already figured out that it was only part one, because he was kind of like,
Well, also,
like he didn't really react.
That, and they previously had a build earlier in the season when they had like 4 or 5 hours of Lamborghini episode. So, they were probably privy to that by that point.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think we all expected that, right? I mean, a season and a half into it now, or more than that, 5 hours does not a TV show make.
Right.
No, I knew there'd be a mashup, or I knew there'd be a twist. I just didn't know I couldn't predict what it was. I feel like if it had been us, I would have been stressed by the part where we were building, separately, and I think I would have been relieved at the twist. I think so, because we, I don't know, our skills together make the pieces that we make,
right?
And
exactly.
I feel like your skill would be missing from what I made.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking, and why it felt like such an odd challenge, because the whole point of Lego Masters is that you're a team, and teams, you each have your strong suit, right? Like Richard, you're the technical person, and Flynn is the more the aesthetic storytelling person, and that's what it needs to make a really good thing. And so when you split them up, and I get the concept sort of. I mean, if you split the teams up, then they each get to sort of shine in what they do, but not really, because there's so many rules around it. And so I just it felt odd, because I think at this late in the season, to have to do sort of a half-assed kind of job of it because one of you is really good at this, but not at all good at this, and vice versa. It just felt like it wasn't really going to be a cohesive thing in the end.
But I guess that was the point, right? Is it wasn't really. It wasn't supposed to be cohesive. It was just it didn't seem like by the nature of the challenge that it would necessarily have to be cohesive. I mean, I guess that's the point where we talk about the twist, right? Is like, yeah, like the point was to mash up the two. So depending on what those two things are that neither of the team knows about, you're going to get just based on what they happen to have built, you're going to get a more cohesive build than others. So I kind of feel like at that point, you can't really judge it based on how cohesive it is, just how it's mashed up and the story that you come up with about it or something. It's going to be some other thing that you have to judge it on.
Well, it's funny, time and again, I'm like, that's not fair, or they can't do that in Lego. And then teams rise above and make these crazy, successful pieces, with those crazy limitations.
I think what's nice about the mashup idea is it kind of takes you back to being a 5-year-old where you're just putting bricks together and you come up with this crazy thing and you're like, this kind of looks like something, and then you were like, oh, this is my little monster dude and this is what he does. And I think that's kind of that, to me, I thought was sort of the point of the challenge, was to think like a 5-year-old and how would you create a character out of these two things, because kids do that all the time,
Well, it was so not only were they tasked on mashing them up together, but then they had to create an environment.
Yeah, that was tough.
And that turned out, I think, in the end, to be a lot trickier than it seemed.
It's too much. That was just too much in that amount of time. That was crazy.
Too much Skittles.
Yeah.
All right. So, and again, thank you, Yano, for providing these photos. So this was Mark and Steven's build. Now they, when they kicked off, we had Mark working on a jellyfish and Steven working on a giraffe, which ended up coming out to two completely different scales. Mm-hmm. And even when they was first building it, I believe Steven was saying, usually my animals are minifig scale. So this is he was already feeling like he was really pushing it. And then this was their combination of created together with this giraffe head kind of coming off the top of a jellyfish. And I really love this seaweed that they created.
Yeah, the seaweed's super cool.
With the transparent pieces on the inner part. I just think it's really quite beautiful. It almost looks like a lamp, especially the way that it's lit. Yeah. It has a very lamp sort of quality to it. So Brian, what are your thoughts about the gel raff in kelp savannah?
I agree with what the judges were saying about how this one doesn't seem as cohesive as it could be, where it definitely comes off like we stuck the giraffe on top of the jellyfish and there we go.
Sure.
They tried to save it a little bit with the legs, having some of the brown spots go throughout the legs and try to really mesh it. It really helped that they were already color coordinated, which is kind of what I was referring to last time, a couple minutes ago. How did they know that there was a similar color scheme or any aspect of it? Because if that jellyfish were any other color, then the giraffe neck standing out of it would have looked even more tacked on and would have lost points, even more so with the judges.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I wonder to what degree it could have seemed more cohesive by simply just having 4 legs instead of all of the legs.
Right.
It's so that it was
because they read so convincingly as tentacles.
Right. I just I'm not, because I didn't, until you said something, Brian, I didn't notice on my viewing of the show that yes, they had actually decorated the tendrils to look like the giraffe legs. I hadn't noticed that.
Okay, now I remember one of the parameters I was wondering about when we were watching this. Is I was wondering if they had to keep what they had already built, or if they could rebuild. Was it against the rules for him to rebuild a giraffe to a bigger scale?
I think they rebuilt. They rebuilt in a couple cases, like Natalie and Michelle's. They rebuilt the.
I thought so.
The
whole face.
The face was different. So I feel like they had freedom in that. But to your point, I was curious about that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and as far as colors go, I don't think they could have known too much because, like, we had that green eel and then a gray mouse, right? So that, like, definitely that wasn't, quite together.
In that case, they got exceptionally lucky with the jellyfish and the giraffe being similar enough, because if that jellyfish were pink or blue, that would have stood out a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
It would have looked like it was just stuck on top. Now, that said, I haven't come up with a way to match up a giraffe and a jellyfish that's different than this.
I gotta say though, I love their the undulations in the sand.
Yes,
it's really beautiful. Really beautiful. I think they did a great job on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, it's a really tough one. Where else you could have brought more jellyfish into the giraffe and more giraffe into the jellyfish? Because
I think if they just graded it a little bit more into the jellyfish, the patterning, like brought a little bit more yellow into it and put a little bit more of those brown patches to tie the head and the legs together, it might look a little.
Oh, like in the dome part?
Yeah.
Or like more canopies in the neck or something, like a tiered system to try and really blend the genetics, to not have them be so disparate from one another. I still think it looks really good for what they were able to pull off. And like you said, the color schemes working together was critical for this one.
Yeah.
Especially in the time allotted and all of that. So
I really admire how sturdy they were able to make this while it seems like it's floating on those legs. Like, that's a really sturdy core. And we saw some of the teams moving their tables very quickly, and it caused problems.
All right.
So, really quickly though, with that last one, and kind of about this challenge in general, like something that was just said is that they were lucky they had a similar color scheme together. Like, I don't think this competition should come down to luck. It should be skill, where if it were any other circumstance, the colors weren't matched. And, the teams that had trouble matching the two together, they were not as lucky. Like, that doesn't... I don't like that.
No,
I want to, but that's what it's been pretty much this whole time.
I need to look again as we go through this, but once again, like we've seen in a couple of other episodes, all of the builds seem to have been a different color. Like, I don't think there's another yellow and orange. There's like a black, and there's a pink, and there's a green, and there's a gray. And I wonder if they didn't, like they did on some of the other ones, pick colors ahead of time.
Well, but there was the eel, which was green, and then the alligator, which was green.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll just shut up now. So clearly my powers of observation are off. So next up, we have Caleb and Jacob. Chameleobster in the Bricky Bog. I got to say, this was my favorite of all of the builds.
Yeah.
And that on its own, I mean, they were both great, but that chameleon is masterful.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
5 hours.
Great shaping.
Yeah, watching that come together was pretty mind-blowing, actually.
Yeah.
But I think for both of them, their ability to remember what the real creature looks like, and I guess, was it Caleb or Jacob actually has a chameleon?
Oh, right.
That was,
I think it was a leopard gecko.
We also got to see this one animated.
That was
great.
So cool. And the way that the animators added the little babies was the first time I think I'd seen the animators really like add something so significant, but it was so adorable.
Oh, and I loved the flies with the cape wings.
Yeah.
Was really clever. Really, really clever.
Well, and as the judges pointed out, this was a really great way to highlight this piece. It's not at all hidden by the environment.
Well, and I would say, again, I know this is like we're talking about luck again, but like how fortunate that they picked two creatures that were at least similarly shaped, like long with, like a sort of a long with a tail, and they were able to combine that. I think they combined it really well.
And they were the same size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they may not be telepathic, but they communicate really well. They know each other. really well.
And I love the log.
That's
It's
really
so
good
well done.
shaping of the log. Yeah, the grain. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, it makes me think of when I worked in the bakery. I used to make Yule logs every Christmas because that's like a
Yep.
thing people like. It's kind of giving me a Yule log type of deal. Really, really, really fantastic. I think this was. Now I know now Brickmaster Jamie said something about the colors.
Yeah.
And
What did
I
he
don't know if it
mean?
was just that he like objected to the brown log or whatever, but it was another one of those cases where I felt like they were just kind of a little
Nitpicking.
bit reaching for a negative comment.
Yeah, like he was forced to say something critical.
Well, they give positive and negative feedback
Yeah.
for every model. That is like a thing that they do.
Yep.
But I just thought this was great. And I love their seaweed treatment is also nice. And I think of all of the builds, this one best featured the creature.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It was staged really well. Like
Right, like I
not-
feel some
like-
of them got a little bit lost in the backgrounds or the environments,
Yep.
and this one really just was like, this is the thing.
It's kind of like a less is more, right? I think everybody else had adjusted to just building everything like over the top and just, trying to scale everything up. Like, okay, well, our creature's this big. We got to make our environment this big. And I think they were pretty smart and like sizing things up, but keeping the focus on their creature. That was maybe the other contestants were trying to hide their creatures. I don't know.
No, I feel like this is really skillful composition.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
All right. Next up, we've got Zach and Wayne's Lair of the Lion Croc. And yes, there's a green alligator. Now, that lionfish was beautiful. I was so sad to see the tail fall off, but it really was a beautiful model to begin with. And what a great character to choose, right? Like, that's pretty elaborate.
I absolutely love this piece, and I wish that the environment wasn't behind it because I feel like it masks a really gorgeous silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really, well, I think where it falls in that point is that if they had used for the environment something that was like shaped more like roundy or
That's
blobby,
it right there. Yep.
but they've chosen to use these tall spiky plants which compete with the tall spiky bits of the lionfish.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it works in a natural sense that it's like sort of camouflaged,
Right.
but you're
Yeah.
right that works against the model as an aesthetic piece.
Or even
I
if
find
the
it interesting
tall-
how far that their blocky style is taking them, though. It allows them to focus so much on the overall playfulness of the model while retaining a fairly simple approach to a lot of the modules. And it
Yeah.
really worked for them combining their two creations there. They were able to have a very congruous style and preserve so much of their original designs as they put them together. So it's really
It's interesting you say that though, because their blocky style kind of lost me on this one because this was a really organic challenge trying
Yeah.
to sculpt, creatures and environments and stuff. And I thought that they were at a disadvantage with that style.
Yeah.
I didn't think
I
it
agree with
worked as
Holly.
well. Yeah.
well, for
that's
me,
why I
it's-
say it's interesting how far it's taking them, because
Yeah.
they're able to produce so much and go for this sort of quantity over quality. I mean, not that their quality is low, but it's just like the size that they're able to come out with is interesting. So I'm
Go big or go
wondering
home, right?
when that's going to fall short for them in the future challenges, because there is sort of a level of technical ability that they're not really escalating, and I think that some of the other teams have a technical finesse that we're just not seeing with their models. So curious about that.
Brian, what do you think about this one?
I agree with the critique of the plants being very tall and hiding the spines that are around it. This one, the front is very croc and the middle is very lionfish. You know, I feel like it wasn't as blended, or there was some other elements I could have tossed in. And I mean, I can say that all I want to, right? I could have or would have, but and then the fact that it is being obscured by these tall plants that are also green and orange is like, well, they could have been another color at the very least.
Yeah. Brian, what you say about coulda and woulda, I feel like that can be a subtext of what we are doing here. I feel like as Lego artists, as Lego builders, it's okay to be critical of the pieces, and we're not saying that the builders are less than. Right. They're under crazy restrictions, but it's okay for us to say we like this part less than this part.
I think this just basically showcases, I mean, this whole competition showcases strengths and weaknesses, you know, and it's gonna waver. Like some people are really good at both, but not the best at either. Some are the best at one, but not the other. I mean, that's the whole point of the competition.
All right. I do really feel like even, you know, luck aside, it takes a crazy amount of skill to overcome these crazy challenges.
Absolutely. And that's like the adaptability is like probably the most useful skill of all.
Right.
Right? Time management and adaptability.
Yeah, like in that one in particular is a spot where if you had builders who had different techniques, the more different your techniques were in the team, the harder it was going to be to blend your two models, you know? So if you had such a totally different approach and you had really fragile connections or something, breaking that apart and blending it with something else is going to be that much more difficult. So it is really a huge challenge.
Yeah.
So now we have up Natalie and Michelle's build. Reptilian in Budapest.
I gotta
to Budapest, I gotta say. But I think that this one kind of suffers from the same thing the last one did, in that the background is so busy, or the environment is so busy, that it's practically hiding the and I'm not quite sure what they could have done. I don't know. It almost feels like if the head and upper, because you know that thing was jointed and like lifted up, like if that torso and head had been lifted up a little further off the ground, as you know, like it was like rising up, it might have been easier to see. But with the way the composition is, with that head down in the very bottom, it doesn't. I feel like I see everything else first before I see the creature.
Well, and at least
Randall?
There's more contrast with the colors as opposed to Zach and Wayne's, where the background really blends in. This at least has more contrast.
For sure.
Yeah. Except for the spines, they all just sort of disappear in this picture, especially like you don't even really see them. But yeah, if they could have posed it rising up in some way, I think it really would have helped their case.
Either posed it or had it resting on something similar to Caleb and Jacob's log. You know, having stacks of, you know, cut cheese pieces that it maybe resting upon. So I would agree. Probably the vertical composition could be improved. And also like I didn't know that was, when I was watching it, I didn't know that they had a what is that over there on the right? The rat trap.
Yes.
You know? So that really this is the example of what one of the ones I was thinking about when you were saying, oh, like everybody had a different color, but this is the one that also had a majority of yellow. What this does remind me of is I see they use similar elements to their first parade build with the paint cans and the translucent chain element.
Yes.
So it seemed like they might have gone back in the pocket for that.
Well, we have definitely seen. I have definitely noticed with them, like their bag of tricks, which isn't a bad thing. That's not that's not a negative critique, but definitely like they return to the things that they know work for them. Like we saw the wings featured in many of their models.
These little black angel wing type things.
Yeah. So we've seen a lot of that.
This makes me think too. I know what it's like being at the end of a challenge and feeling like you're not decorated enough.
Yeah.
And you can get really, it takes so much effort to not only find those pieces, but assemble chain after chain after chain after chain. And it's easy to get, lost in the weeds there.
Well, we kind of saw it literally, but we saw. I think we saw that with Brian and Lauren, right? Like the Brick Masters were like, your rocks are too gray. Mm-hmm. You should add some color. But then they kind of went overboard with the color.
Yeah, I don't think that they were getting the note though. Like, I don't think they really understood. Like, I understood it as seeing what the comments they were making. Like, I got what they were getting at, but I feel like it either wasn't communicated in a way that they understood.
Are you talking about Lauren and Brian? Or are you talking about
it wasn't that it was just too much gray. It was just it's about focal point. It's like where you want your focus and what's detracting from your focus, or it's more about that than just it's too much or it's not enough. It's like you just need it in the right place.
But I'll tell you, and I don't know. Randall, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, but I can tell you that when the Brickmasters come up and say something to you, it's really hard not to take it as gospel and just absolutely do precisely what they say. And as you move along into the competition, you kind of start to try to figure out how to balance what they're telling you they need to see and what you're actually able to achieve. And how to interpret what they're saying. I mean, the whole thing with our volcano with it's too tall, it's too tall, it's too tall. Oh no, that's not what we meant. That was extremely difficult. Randall, did you find that kind of hard to strike that balance between their notes and what your intention?
Oh yeah, I've had conversations about this with a few other contestants this season too, and it's always how far do you want to, how much of their advice do you want to incorporate? You can, it doesn't have to be, it's not 0 or 1. There's a spectrum a lot of the times. So if they're saying, okay, they need to see this type of detail or this type of scale, okay, I'm going to look at the clock first and say, okay, if we're going to split up this division of labor, how much of this can we achieve? Do we have the pieces to do what we want to achieve? If not, what pieces that we would expect to use? Because you can always build stuff different ways, achieve things different ways. But there's always a battle, as I would say, as you said, rather, do you throw it out entirely and say, okay, whatever, and we're just going to do what we want to do and hope that it adds up at the end? Because a lot of the times they're not seeing obviously the final model until you get judged. And so the other thing that you should take into account too is how much of the idea you share with them. Because if you explain these grandiose things, then that may be what they come to expect. And so you got to think about how you're selling it in the moment so you don't get ahead of yourself and bite off more than you can chew.
That's a good point. And I have a question. How much conversation is really allowed when they come by with their suggestions? Because I kind of imagine this is the only experience I have that's close to this is working with an art director, right? When an art director tells you kind of what they're looking for or more or less of something or whatever. Of course, this is nothing like a real world situation because it's not at the end of the day, you get to kick it back and make revisions, right? It's win or lose. But I kind of wonder, I know sometimes I'm working with an art director, if they make a note on something, sometimes depending on what it is, you have to push back on it a little bit because there's not enough time. Yeah, sure, that would be great, but I don't have enough time for that. And then they might make another suggestion. Are you able to do that with the judges?
Well, speaking for myself, I can say every time they came by, it was a surreal experience because not only are they standing at the table, you're in the middle of your build. There's 3 or 4 cameras around and a couple of producers. And I felt there was a team in episode 1 or in season 1 that did push back on it. And I think the response of everyone, when we had our group watch and everything was no, do you have to do what they say? You know, and I kind of felt like that. I didn't feel like I wanted to on camera say to designers at Lego that I thought they weren't 100% right about what they were saying.
Well,
But they're not the one. They've never actually built under those things. Like they've never built in that situation either. So I'm sure, like,
true.
If they're in the position that the judges are basically being told, okay, now you have to go to every table and make some kind of suggestion to all the teams. They're in a position where they have to make a suggestion, and all they can do is like look at what you have so far, or look at your idea, and comment it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it's like, yeah, I think you can push back on it and say, yeah, that's a good suggestion, but we've only got like an hour here, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. What can I do in an hour to make this better is probably the question I would ask.
I said that the second they left. I'm sorry, Flynn.
No.
I waited until they left and then turned to Flynn and said, "There's no way we can do that."
It happened a few times.
No.
But I think the important thing to remember too, and I have all the respect in the world for Amy and Jamie, but it's two people's opinions.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, there are some builds that I've seen like at conventions that like I've won awards that I was kind of like, oh yeah, that was all right. But that's my opinion as one person.
Yeah.
And that comes with all of my personal biases and thoughts and the way that I do things.
Yeah.
And somebody else isn't going to do something the way that I do them. I'm not going to build the way that Jamie builds or Amy builds, right? I'm going to build the way that I build and hope that they like it. And it's a very tough thing, because when you're on the show and you're thinking, okay, I really want to win this challenge, of course you're going to want to build what the judges are telling you that they're looking for, right? So,
Holly, I would say, to answer your question, how much time did you really get? After the first couple episodes, it seemed as if like once the camera's gone and they bounce, like that's it. Like that's the only. So usually, what I would do is if I know that they're coming, I'm asking those questions, not just getting feedback from them.
Right.
And I'm saying, okay, like I don't like this part, or this ain't working. Like, what do you think? And be able to talk about that in that way. They're probably not going to use that in the edit, but that helps me in the moment.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and just speaking to Patrick's comment that I just put up there, like I gotta say, kudos to the editing team. You got a hard job, but man, you're really not good at like holding your hand close to your chest, because like it's pretty obvious.
Well, we said it during this episode. We were like, well, we know who's going home.
Let's not go too far down that rabbit hole right now.
I'm just gonna say, when the exciting razzmatazz music stops and the violins start, you know, that maybe that clip is foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're gonna get us with it though. One of these days, they're gonna fool us, and we're gonna be like, "Oh no, they're going home," and then they're not, and then we're all gonna be like, "What?" Yeah.
So
they're holding their cards. They're holding their cards.
Okay, so let's take a look at the final build for this one, and that is Dave and Richard's build. Did I? Yep, I got it here. Sorry. Here we go. Poco Roco in CBGBs, which is one of my like the best puns I've seen in a while on this show. I gotta say, like really well done. Although the pun game was strong in this particular challenge, I gotta say, but this one really.
Hit it out of the park.
This probably of all of the builds, this was my next favorite after Caleb and Jacob's.
This was my favorite.
Yeah, this was your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so fun and full of action, and I love the surroundings of it. It's just really and the size, like that penguin build. When I saw Dave whip that out in 5 hours, I was seriously impressed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seriously impressed. So, Brian, what do you think about this one?
I'm a penguin lover, so I'm biased heavily, but I love the scale of this, and I like the environment of this the best, because they could have gone with a traditional, here's an iceberg, here's some water, but it's a penguin performing with a brick wall, an amp. Like, there's a lot of character added into here. And yeah, the coral could have been probably a little bit more throughout the penguin that would have sold it even more so, because those are so vibrant colors compared to the black and white of the penguin. But the way that it was implemented, I thought was expertly done with the mohawk and the eyebrows, especially with like the ring going around the eyelash. It's just great touches that bring it all together.
Yeah, I think, you know, though, unfortunately at this point in like those tiny details, I mean, like they did show some of it, but a lot of those tiny details are very easily lost in, you know, in the bigger picture, I think. But I appreciated this build on a lot of levels. Kara, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I love this build so much. I think this is actually my favorite, and the gecko is the second, just because of the pun, the character, the whole scene. It just is. I love it so much. But it was really kind of stressful watching this and not seeing much of that coral on there, knowing that it had to be like a mashup animal, right? And so I think if they had just extended the coral a little farther out and made it like a cape or something for the penguin out of the coral and just put more color down there, I think they would have absolutely made it into the top 2. But I mean, I get the problem with it, but it's such a shame because this is so delightful.
Well, it's a lot up to interpretation, right?
Right.
So and I mean, and also too, they were much like Mark and Steven. They were vastly different scales. Yep. This penguin was huge, and by comparison, the coral was small. And I think the other thing too is, and even though he was 100% correct in his interpretation, I don't think that when most people think creature that coral comes to mind, even though it is actually a living, you know, a living creature. Yeah. It's not iconically a creature, if that makes sense.
It seems like he made it more difficult on himself by choosing a not super obvious sea creature, and then that color scheme, like, of all the things that you could have taken from the sea. And I mean, again, coulda, shoulda, woulda, different situation, but that is a very different creature than anything else that anyone made in this challenge.
I will say, actually, I thought there were a lot of missed opportunities here. I actually thought coral was a brilliant choice because there's great. A lot you can do with it, right? Like you can make all different kinds of coral. And this is the point where I was wondering if they weren't allowed to like extract from their initial idea and build onto it, because I was like, I would be doing like a coral fan for like one of the flippers or something like that. But there was something kind of like making me think that they weren't allowed to like add on to their original creature, you know, or something. There's something weird about
How much time?
I was shocked.
How much time did they have?
5 more hours.
5 more hours.
Okay.
I think they met the challenge to create the environment really, really well. And it makes such a complete thought of a piece. But sitting at home on the couch with that perspective and not being under that pressure and, you know, being up close, I just felt like I agree with Holly that I think there were missed opportunities. I feel like there could have been a lot more coral, and that in the creation of the coral in the first place, there was that what's been very successful technique of repeatable shapes. Yeah. And I think less environment and more repeatable shapes might have just, you know, I think they could have been in the top 2.
I think I really think there's missing information. There's got to be a reason that they couldn't do more.
Well, with the goal of it being a coral, I know coral. Yeah. I know with the goal of it being a mashup creation, and we keep. I mean, I've heard several people say, well, they could have added a cape or a fan, and like I get that too. But I think even that is more like an accessory rather than actual combination of, you know, like
but they could have even pulled like the Pirates of Caribbean approach and done like coral like throughout the body and made it look like, you know, like it was growing coral, or that the coral was
I was thinking like a punk rock vest made of coral, where it has
like
all the
saying,
patches and stuff.
That's still more of an accessory. Like that's something you put on top of it rather than it being this like hybrid penguin coral creature.
But in an approach like yours, where it's like it's growing organically,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
like where it's like
and there's no reason they
growing on
couldn't.
it.
I mean, there obviously is a reason that they couldn't just greeble bits of coral on it. I just want to know what that is because that there had to be.
I have to imagine that they were trying to make use of as much time as possible without having to rebuild it too much.
That was a bad choice then, because that was the whole point of the challenge, and then that was the whole point of the challenge was to kind of unbuild and rebuild and to merge the two together.
The quote, Flynn, that's a choice.
Yeah, that was a choice, I guess. Maybe I don't know. We don't know all the rules. That's there's like
That's
without
the
all the
problem.
information, I have no idea what to say about it.
Yeah, I really like this one a lot, and I certainly we had I felt like with this one, like when we did our storybook challenge build, it was open to interpretation. Like we interpreted it very, very differently than what they were hoping to see, and I totally get that. And I feel like they interpreted it the way that they interpreted it that made a lot of sense to them, but maybe didn't necessarily translate in the larger picture to what everybody or what the judges or the producers were expecting.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like they've taken a lot of chances in this season, and it's generally worked out for them really well. So I just wanted to let's go ahead and talk about now who won and who went home. So if you're still not spoiled enough, now is the time to mute your microphones as we talk about this. So this is here is the winning build this week was Caleb and Jacob.
Yay, richly deserved.
Yeah,
Ninth time's a charm.
Yeah, and ninth exactly. I was so happy to see them win a challenge. Like it was just so delightful to see them because they've turned out such great work.
Yep.
Yes.
And and it was nice to see them finally get recognized, especially in a smaller group, to get recognized for such a great model.
Patrick Wismer, thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that.
Caleb and Jacob are, I was saying this the other day, Caleb and Jacob are better builders than their results have shown on the show.
Sure.
And they still had some pretty good results too.
And you see what I'm saying? So like they fire. So like I was happy to see this.
Well, and they were cool as cucumbers being split apart too.
Yeah.
Well, they got that telepathy. They're all right.
Well, actually, I thought it was really cute that when they were asking each one how they felt about being split up, and one of them was like, "I don't know, I can't stand it. I'm so worried about him." And then I couldn't stand being apart. And then they asked the other one, and he's like, "Oh, I'm good. I kind of like doing things on my own."
That was funny.
Well,
Such
you
a
can see
Flynn
that their Wonder Twin powers really activated with this one, and whether it was some subconscious connection or what, the fact that they were able to just blend two perfectly scaled models together so nicely and come up with an amazing creature combination too. It really rocked. It was so nice to see. Like
without commenting on any of the other pieces, which I really like a lot, this one had a surplus of taste. It's so tasteful. It's just like a beautiful, complete little vignette. It looks like something that they would have worked on for a long time to present at a convention.
Well, and I also feel like it was, and so many times you've seen this happen, but this one won not only because it's beautiful, but because of all of the models, it most completely embraced the challenge. Right? Like that really is the best blending of two creatures of any of the ones that we've seen. Like it was like you were saying, a complete thought, right? And like Holly was saying, that the whole sort of less is more. Let's focus on the creature, and the environment is beautiful, but is also the guest star, right? It's not the star of the piece. And I think like we saw in some of the other ones, like Zach and Wayne's, like Natalie and Michelle's, the background kind of took over. Rather than supporting the creature, it kind of took over from it, pushed it out of the spotlight. All right, so now let's we're going to talk about who went home. Now, judging just from what we've been talking about, I can tell that this was probably not a super popular decision for a lot of people. And I gotta say that I was entirely disappointed. Dave and Richard.
Yeah.
I gotta say, well, first of all, I was shocked because they have won more challenges than anybody else this season. And their builds have been consistently amazing across the board. Now, one of the things I know they told us, now, Randall, I don't know if they told you this, but that technically how you did in other challenges is not supposed to have any effect on the final decision. Like it is, they are taken one at a time.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
Did they mention that to you, Randall?
They did not mention that to me, but wow, how do I feel? I know, right? Put me in a hot seat. I think that is spectrum again. Like I can't say yes or no. Because early in the season, there are people that were in the bottom two that ended up winning like the next challenge, right? Because that particular challenge that just didn't suit their skill set. But in the aggregate, I would like to think that just over time, they would come to expect certain things of certain teams.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then this really just seemed to be a matter of interpretation, right?
Yeah. This is probably, to me, that technicality like y'all were talking about.
Well, something that Flynn and I have said to each other before is that no team is more than one bad day away from going home or a good day they could get the golden brick.
Well, the hard thing for me about this isn't a bad day. This is a brilliant model. It's
they really you could
gorgeous.
see that they were really struggling with the challenge as it was, because the challenge wasn't make a really good creature build or make a really good environment for a creature. The challenge was this hybrid creature, and you could tell that they were really struggling with the two completely different concepts, how to mash them together. And I'm kind of with you where like I was like kind of shocked, because in the end it was still a really good build, and I feel like that was kind of their strategy, is like, okay, we know we're struggling here, we're just going to make sure that we make a really good build that's going to be hard to send us home on. And I felt like Natalie and Michelle were like squeaked by because they had struggled in several of the challenges, and Dave and Richard had won some, and so I just couldn't see between the two how like I just assumed they were going to take that into consideration. But I think because the point of this challenge was so clear, and because they totally missed the mark and what the challenge was, I kind of don't disagree with them. I was like, I don't know how you couldn't, like, if you're just basing it on this challenge and this competition in particular, they made the right choice. Like, it was hard not to agree with them.
Well, on the other hand, I wonder how much, in the back and forth with the judges when they're building, how much the environment part was stressed or not stressed. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I can't fault the decision based on the creature not being a full mashup creature, but if the environment was also being pushed as a very important component,
maybe
I think that Dave and Richard's strategy of making a fantastic environment was sound.
I kind of feel like environment was probably, and again, we don't know, this is all information we don't have
exactly,
but I sort of feel like environment was there more as like a tiebreaker So if you had two really good hybrid characters and you had to choose between the two, it was going to be the one that had a better environment or was staged better.
That sounds
or it was
reasonable.
like 25% versus 75%, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
they
And
nailed the
Not
environment.
knowing the conversations that went on, or
Yeah.
you know how the information was communicated. You know, I don't know. There were certainly much more difficult environments to understand,
Yes.
and you
Well, we
know,
had
were
the best environment.
questionable choices, but
So
You know,
Brian,
I just-
what's your take on this? What's your take on this situation?
The situation. I mean, I have consistently liked Dave and Richard's builds throughout the entire season, and I like their style. The way that they approach challenges has typically been very different based on everybody else so far. And when you're getting down to the final 5 teams, 6 teams, there's not a bad builder here. No one, you don't look at one build and you're like, okay, I can really, like, we can all, you know, come to a conclusion. Like, these guys can build in their own respect. And in terms of whether or not you should factor in previous challenges when judging, I mean, I don't think they, the rule is that you shouldn't, but I feel like some sort of bias gets in there somehow. I don't know.
Human.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
No.
and then is it a? It's so tough. How
'Cause
much
these
do you
guys
wanna
are
say-
excellent.
This is
how
what
much
I
do you
meant.
wanna-
Patrick's comment is what I was saying. Was basically saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says, you can't expect growth and improvement as the season goes and also disregard previous builds' results.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you want to end up with the best builders, or do you want to end up with the people who played the last game the best?
Apparently, the ones who play the last game the best. Is
Yeah.
so
I mean,
far.
it happens in sports all the time. There's
Yep.
you know
It's true.
Yeah.
somebody through certain circumstances, people that you might expect to perform well, whatever that means, that doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
You know, the
it's
one-
the nature of competition, right? Like if we're
Yeah.
gonna say
True.
something, I mean, I'd say that maybe it was a bad day for Richard. Like I was shocked at how little was created. It's one of the teams where there was such a disparate,
Yeah.
difference in what came out of one side of the wall and the other. When I thought of Coral, I was like, oh, cool. Like you look at the drawing that obviously we now know somebody else doodles up, and you see a variety of Coral, and there wasn't variety. So whether or not there's a rule that, like Holly said, we're not seeing, we're not privy to about how much you could expand upon what was already there,
Yeah.
or whether or not it's more like Flynn, like you said, that they had this focus and that their idea was, well, we'll just focus on what we know we can do well and try and pull it off with what we have. And not change the penguin up enough or add to that coral element. We'll know as they talk more and more about it. I've already seen some posts about it, but it's just like, it is really sad and disappointing because it's a killer build. I mean, there's so much to love about it. And when you put it up against the other builds that came out of the end of that day, like it rocks. I mean, it really, it's an
Literally.
awesome mock. And it just falls short of that critical component, which is the rules.
I will
Right.
say though,
Rules
it
rule,
was,
right? Like
it was a good one to go out on though. Like if you're gonna go
Yeah.
out and be eliminated, at least you have a really like killer build to stand on. You know.
true enough.
Yeah.
they fought the law and the law won,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, I think
True.
I have a spicy take.
Uh-oh.
Here's my
Uh-oh.
spicy take. I was sitting on the couch,
I've been waiting for this all episode, Randall.
sitting on the couch, not pulling out my hair, but trying, shouting at the TV. Mark and Steven, give up that brick. Just give up the
Right.
brick.
Yeah.
Same.
They remind me of
Same.
the team in season 2 in Australia, Andrew and forget his name, but they had the golden brick like the whole series. The
So
whole
did Aaron
season,
and Christian.
and didn't give it
Yeah.
up.
The
Yeah.
producers
Like they
must
want to
be
take
like,
it home.
they must be like, man, can you just please spice it up? Please.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, they did. I know they definitely, when we were on, there seemed to be a definite kind of pressure on Aaron and Christian to give up that brick.
Well, their
Just get rid
comments.
of the brick. The brick's stupid. Just get rid of it.
I mean,
Not
at this point,
working.
if the first team that gets it is going to hold on to it for the whole season, like
just don't do it. Yeah.
I've
Oh, really, Patrick?
Wait, can you do that one more time for us, Randall?
We need to make Adam say it.
I need an animated emoji of that
Yes.
for all of my comments on the internet. So yeah, it was a beautiful build. Really sorry to see those guys go. They're amazing builders. Always have amazing fun messages and things with their builds.
very personal builds.
Very, very personal builds. As a matter of fact, and you'll see. So I'll be publishing the article tomorrow on Brothers Brick of the exit interview that we did with them, and that was one of the things that I asked them was, what was your most personal build? Like, which build of all of them was the most personal to you? And they had a really, really amazing answer. So definitely check out the article when it comes out tomorrow morning, because their answer to that I thought was really, really very smart, as you would expect from the two of them.
Yep.
So, well, friends, we have reached the end of another Sunday chat, another Sunday discussion of Lego Masters. So we will be back on, when are we back again? Oh,
Friday.
Tuesday on Twitch. I'll be Tuesday on Twitch with the Raid Train. We'll be back on Friday with the results of our 2-week challenge, which is a hobby habitat challenge. That is, make a habitat that is anywhere up to 16 by 16, can be the biggest. It can be as small as you want. And it is a habitat of you, your sig fig, doing your favorite hobby that's not Lego. So we want to see this is a chance for us to get to know y'all a little bit better. What is it that you love to do that's not Lego? Besides Lego, what is it? So looking forward to seeing all of those on Friday, and those are due Thursday night as usual.
Oh, Blair, I have to ask. Our buddy Scott Caswell says he loves your hat. Can you show us your hat?
Well, today it's just the background because I put my effort into what we're still coming up on, which is minifigs.
Oh,
Yes,
this is true.
Yes, and we are about to do that before we go. Everybody, favorite minifig, end of the show. Share a minifig that you love. What have you got, Kara?
So I have a very recent friend's fig, which
nice.
she has the most incredible hair. Where are you?
Oh, that's like elf's hair, but
yeah, it's
without
like
the
elf's
ears.
hair, and also it's my favorite fidget toy now.
Yay.
Nice. Holly.
All right, this is a good one. This is one I won as an award it's an AFOB award. If you don't know what AFOB is, it's an adult fan of B and then fill in the blank, and it changes every year at BrickCan. So for this year's challenge, I got a little prize.
Oh, nice.
A little
Nice.
AFOB or a little beehive guy, or what do you call it, beekeeper, with a printed stand for it and some fun little accessories.
The Lego bee smoker.
Yes, and they're so good about like branding and packaging and all that like I have to keep this in the package because it's all about that. It's so good.
Awesome.
That's pretty
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
Randall.
Yes, I think I was telling y'all previously, maybe one show, that I've been getting a whole bunch of these recent CMFs. I was at Atlanta Brick Company, where Mark happens to work. So I was hanging out with Mark and Steven a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, and I saw that they had this one. So I think it's like this eagle something.
Oh,
So
nice.
Also,
Aztec Warrior, maybe?
Aztec Warrior.
Aztec Warrior, I think.
yeah. So this is also gonna be going with this one for an eventual mock whenever I get time to start working on this stuff.
I don't know, Randall. That's going a little mythological there. Are you?
Too soon?
Yeah, it ain't. Look, the the centaur is destroyed. So we ain't got none of that.
It's more historical.
Brian.
I'll give you a little preview of something releasing this week that I have. It's this guy here.
Oh, it's a Bob Fig. That is awesome.
With a classic Game Boy playing a not quite Tetris, right?
Love
Wait,
that.
That is fantastic.
that comes out
Tetris-like
on
game.
Wednesday, world premiere.
Very nice. Very good. All right. Wow.
Kind of want
That's
that.
okay. You got to get me one of those.
Mhm.
All right, Blair.
In the spirit of this week's episode, I have the Mad Scientist,
Nice.
the winning combination.
Nice.
I love this guy. It's the only one where they've done an extended head. So just a really fun concept there.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Okay. Us next? Yeah. Oh, that's right. I got to do this.
Okay,
And then this.
from Lego Movie 2 CMF, I'm featuring today Apache Chief. Clicky, can you help out here a little bit?
I mean, he's doing his best.
It's wait, it's you? No, it's Clicky.
Pay no attention to the man behind the clicky.
Right there.
There we go.
Yay, looking
Nice.
kind of serious.
And his whole thing is he would get really big.
He would get very
He was
big.
like Ant-Man before Ant-Man.
Ah,
Now, I know mine is probably going to be a very unpopular.
Wow.
This is an unpopular opinion.
He's just so mean.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love villains. I love villains so much. And I just love the detail on this. And it's got side leg printing and anything. And that is Professor
Yes.
Humble.
Come on. Oh, she's the best.
boo!
But look at
Yes.
her outfit. Come on.
Yes.
Boo! Man,
Such
that's
a good
that's
villain.
nice. That's a really nice minifig.
Right? It's just a good
Yeah.
fig. And she's horrible, yes, but like what an outstanding villain. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, as far as villains are concerned, she's kind of got it going on.
You could display that next to your kitten collectible plate collection.
Exactly.
Yeah, Audrey has like my daughter has like physical reactions to that character.
Yes,
she's like
as she should.
Worst
terrifying.
horrible teacher that you ever had. Like that's the thing
Yes.
that I love about her so much is that she evokes a very intense emotional response from people.
That's a good
Um,
villain. That's a good
Because she
villain.
is like really, really awful and so much she plays on those memories of those really awful teachers that you had that were so mean to you. And believe me, I had many.
I had that. We all had that teacher. Yeah.
Yes.
So good. And Marilyn asks, look at her face, indeed. And she's got two of them.
What set is she from?
This is from the one with Grop where she gets carried away by the centaurs. Sorry, Randall. I got it because of the centaur bodies. You're never going to live it down.
I know what I'm
Sorry.
getting Randall for his birthday.
Throw me. I get all,
She's
give it
great.
all to me.
We love you, Randall. You know this. And Mairead asked a very funny question earlier. Is it just going to be slideshows and breakdowns, or are we going to ever see Grandpa's building again? Yes, you will see Grandpa's building again.
We have a vault of sets.
We have so many sets to build. And also, I showed this the other day on Twitch, but this is, let's see, right here.
No, not the secret sets.
These are all sets that we have gotten from Lego for review. So we will be reviewing these coming up over the next month.
Hot
Yay.
tickets.
And those are going to actually be not live shows, but those are going to be pre-recorded video.
Like
that-
after school special.
Yes, like that we've talked about. And who knows, maybe we'll even do an evening show, something like that. But life has returned, work has returned, and 3 days a week for us is not able to do it anymore.
But we've got specials.
So we've got specials, and we have this special Sunday, and of course, Lego Masters 2 will be wrapping up in just a few weeks.
That's right.
And we will be back to our regular Sunday sit around and talk about whatever happens to come into our minds.
Oh, we're going to get in so much
Watch
trouble.
out.
We will get in so much trouble, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. So, well, anybody, thanks everybody so much for coming and joining us today. Thanks to everybody on the panel. Thanks to the Lego Masters 2 contestants who I know sometimes sit through listening to us pick apart all of their models, and they're very kind to do so.
We love you and your builds.
But we love you and your builds, and it's been a great season so far. I don't know. You know, it's funny at this point where I feel like on our season, it seemed like you could probably give a prediction about who was going to end. And this one, it's tough. Like there have been, and I think part of when our season was, there was the same people won so many challenges over and over again. It was kind of easy to see. Yes, it's a roll of who's going to roll high next?
Well, who's going to crap out? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I just realized, I know we're running a little over time, but Brian, we didn't get to see your and Nick's builds for this week.
All right, real quick. So we went with the land and sea theme. Nick went with land. I went with sea. So, Nick ended up making an orangutan, and I ended up making a whale. I'll show you the whale here. That's what it looks like.
Oh, it's so cute.
So now we ended up taking, there was a base on it, but I got rid of that because that's an environment. It doesn't count, Brian. That's what Nick said. So I combined the whale with an orangutan, and I came up with this here.
Wow.
Wow. That is terrifying and amazing.
A whale orangutan.
That is something
I called it like a wang-a-lang, you know?
This is family-friendly show.
I'm a family-friendly content creator. I think wang-a-lang is a good term for this thing.
It's technically wang-a-lan, orangutan, and wang-a-lan.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Tomato, you know. It's all good.
On that note.
Cara, you're killing me.
On that note, everyone.
Look, Cara's blushing.
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody here next Sunday to talk about the next episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also, we've got a little something coming up with the next challenge. Now, you may have already seen Yano posting about the We Are Family thing that she's doing for Talk Like a Pirate Day. And that is actually going to be involved with our next challenge. And we're doing something with Yano. So she will be here, I believe, next Friday to talk a little bit more about that. But that's something fun that we've got coming up. So looking forward to that. But so thanks, everybody, for coming and being on the panel. Thanks, everybody, for coming and being in the audience today, checking out, watching, commenting, hanging out. And until next time, don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear your mask, get that vaccine as soon as you can, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Happy building.